Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome to our Sunday morning weekly setup. Thank you for your patience with us getting started. Katie's internet has decided that it would like to take Sunday morning off. So she's here with us in the chat, thankfully, but it did not want to cooperate with her being able to share her slides and things. So I'm here with you today, but I will be sharing Katie's slides. So I will kind of do my best to add Katie's own coloring here with her work that she's done for us, and she'll chime in the chat as well to clarify anything I don't get right. But I'll also provide kind of my own perspective, obviously, because here I am. But welcome to all of you. We're so glad that you're here. If you haven't already, please make sure that your chat is set to everyone. For those of you that maybe this is your first social or you haven't been to one in a while, just a reminder that if you are typing in the chat and that setting is not set to everyone, it won't go to everyone. So not everyone will see what you're sharing. And that is one of the best things about coming to a Sonder Social is to be able to have that community time with one another. So definitely make sure that that little blue box is set to everyone if you would like to share with the group. As we go through, we're going to be doing a couple of kind of opening exercises, and then we'll be getting into our main event, which is our weekly setup. And as we go through, you're going to see different like examples and things up on the screen that Katie has so graciously put together for us. But as we go through, I'll do my best to kind of cycle back and forth between the examples. So if your favorite slide disappears, don't panic. It'll probably come back.
But with that said, you can also feel free to take pictures and screenshots as we go through. This is also recorded, so it will be up on the Silk and Sonder YouTube page in a couple of business days. So if you need to go back and watch anything, it is there for you as well. Um, and we would love to see your pictures of everything once you get it set up. So if you feel comfortable taking photos of your journal and sharing in Sonder Club or on the socials, we would love to see that. So we're going to run through our community guidelines real quick. So first and foremost, please be kind and courteous to yourself and to others. No promotions or spam, please. We are going to respect everyone's privacy here. No hate speech or bullying. Please limit repetitive product and accessory questions, mostly because there's only so much that Katie and I can do to help with those. Which is why if you do ask something that we are not able to help with or we don't know the answer to, we'll direct you over to the headquarters team. Their email is hello@silkandsonder.com. Also, apologies. The weather here in Tennessee has been crazy. As Mara was saying, she had storms last night. We had storms last night. It has also, like, the temperature has dropped like 40 degrees within the last, I don't know, 3 hours. So my apologies if there is some throat clearing and things happening today. Finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So as we go through today, essentially, we just want you to take whatever you need from this time that you've carved out from yourself. If you need to just kind of spend time in community, hanging out in the chat, focusing on your community. I know I just said it, but that truly is the best word for what we have here. Make sure that you are doing that. Spend time with your people, do all this sharing, and you can kind of do the nitty gritty pen to paper a little bit later after the social. I know some people tell their family and friends that this is actually like an hour and a half, so that they have a little bit of extra time to kind of get those things done. Or if you're not in a particularly social mood and you just want to put that pen to paper and spend time with your journal, then do that. And as we go through and we do the opening activities and things, if anything bubbles up that's a little unexpected and it doesn't feel like something you want to engage with today, feel free to, take a break, walk away, come back to it later, or not at all, work on something different. You don't have to engage with anything today that you're not ready to. So our theme for this month is admiration. And Katie has this I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed kind of like graphic up here. And what she was explaining to me, and she can clarify in the chat if I get it wrong, but essentially, when we admire people, sometimes they're people that we don't know and they're kind of like celebrities, and you've all heard that phrase, or maybe not all of you, but most of you have probably heard the phrase, like, don't meet your heroes, right? Because sometimes it can be a bit of a letdown because you've kind of built this person up in your mind based on what you admire about them. And then you meet them and they're not quite what you hodgepodge together. And that's not really because they're not necessarily who they've always been. It's just you kind of built them up into something that they weren't because of that like deep admiration. You kind of automatically associated them to other positive things and stuff like that. But also even in like relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships, this same kind of thing happens where when we care deeply about people and we, admire them greatly and we admire their skills and things, we tend to like build up their capabilities and have like expected behaviors for them based on that admiration and our belief that, they are this great, wonderful person. But at the end of the day, like everyone is human, right? And all of us have either had somebody who has fallen short of those like expectations, or we have fallen short of somebody's expectations. And that's where like you probably had somebody in your life, maybe it was a parent that said like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And if we think about that reaction, a lot of the times the reason they're so disappointed isn't necessarily because you failed. It is, but it's also because they have such a deep admiration and belief and respect in you that they expected you to behave in a certain way that you didn't. And it kind of it kind of sucks, right? To hear that, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Because when you break it down, ultimately, it's like somebody forgot for a second that you're a human and you're gonna make mistakes. So as you're kind of engaging with admiration and especially admiration of others, but even admiration of self, sometimes we can build ourselves up so high, and we all know that we're amazing and we're capable of great things, but we're also human and we're capable of not having our best day, or feeling like our best isn't good enough. And a lot of the time, that is rooted in those unmet expectations, right? It's not that your best isn't good enough. It's not that you're not allowed to have a day where you don't meet your own expectations, right? You are, because you're human, but you just have built yourself up and set these expectations so high that you start to forget that. So I think it's kind of I think Katie said it's sort of like a different perspective, and it maybe is a little bit more on the like, not negative side, but it's kind of like flipping back the curtain on admiration and looking at ways that it maybe can be a double-edged sword. But I think that this is a really great call out, because truly, like, not only do we do this to other people sometime unintentionally, but we also do it to ourselves. Anytime that you start with the shoulds, I should do this, I should have done this, like, I should be at this point in my life, my career. I should have used my time more wisely, right? Whatever it is. And I know my therapist has told me before, and some of you, your therapist has told you the same thing, that like you have to start shoulding. You have to stop shoulding all over yourself. Um, you are essentially being that person that's telling you, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And like, don't do that to yourself. Be kind to yourself. When you feel the shoulds coming and they start to like pile on top of you and everything, turn that around and say, no, I am a human, and I am allowed rest, and I am allowed to do my best, and my best works and looks different every day, right? So counteracting that. And this is kind of where Katie's call out interacts with my version of admiration, because I said that at the beginning of the month, to me, admiration means slowing down and not listening to the shoulds and paying attention to the I ams. So instead of thinking about what should be, really stopping to appreciate what I am. And this ties into that perfectly, because it's the same thing. When the shoulds start to come through, you need to stop and say, nope, I am a human. I am worthy exactly as I am, and I am allowed to fluctuate, right? Because that is what being human is all about. So, um, Katie sent me a message and said that I got the gist of it there. So thankfully, I see it's also resonating with a lot of you. So thank you, Katie, for bringing that perspective to us. So we're going to go through our admiration mind map, and then we will complete our rosebud thorn exercise and do our weekly setup pages. So the admiration mind map, for those of you who may not know, is the mind map is an activity that is specific to the weekly socials. It's not going to be pre-printed in the journal anywhere, so you can do this on a blank page or scrap paper or like the scratch pad, anywhere in your journal that you'd like, really. And it's going to be a theme about a prompt for the theme of the month. And then our rosebud thorn will be a reflection exercise on last week before we move into next week with that weekly set. So we're going to hop over into that admiration mind map. Again, just flip to a blank page, empty space, wherever it is that you like to do this exercise. And we're, of course, going to be exploring admiration in different areas of our lives. And this week, we're looking at admiration of nature. I love this prompt because I think like a very popular phrase right now in the world is like, just go outside and touch grass, right? And it basically is just like when everything starts to get too much, when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, like really any problem that you have going on in your life, if you can just get outside in nature and disconnect for a minute and ground your feet into the outdoors and truly touch grass, feel fresh air, like watch the trees, listen to the birds, right? All of these things, it really helps to just kind of reset everything. And there's so much to really admire in nature, right? Like even if you're just in a little walk on your neighborhood, I always find things that kind of bring in a sense of wonder. And I think wonder is so closely tied to admiration when we stop to think about like, you know, you are this one person walking in this one moment in time, seeing this one little tiny thing and noticing this small quietness, because nature is often quiet, but not always, right? Like with the storms and things, nature can be very loud and make itself known in powerful ways, which in itself is kind of its own message, right? Like just because something is quiet and still doesn't mean that it isn't powerful. And Katie's got some great kind of prompts to help us think a little bit more about this topic too here. Like you could describe a favorite place in nature, personify aspects you admire about nature, its systems and processes. Like for me, I've pretty much decided that like, yeah, I'm gonna pick a new word of the year and everything in January, but I'm not actually gonna act out on any like resolutions until springtime comes, because like winter, I am in hibernation mode, just like the season, just like the animals. Like I'm waiting for spring to come back. So something like that. You can utilize your five senses to describe what you admire in nature. Make a correlation between something you admire about nature and what you admire about yourself. And maybe a good way to admire nature is to get outside for a bit, bundle up if it's cold, or sit by a window and just relax. I've started like opening the windows in our house because it is a little like yucky and chilly to actually get outside and get going, but I can open a window for a little bit and get fresh air and hear the sounds outside. And it's kind of amazing how much of a reset that helps with. And I love Katie's mind map here where she just says, take a walk, get outside. Yes, go touch grass. It seriously is so good for all of us. So I'm going to put on some music for you to think about this prompt. Share with us in the chat what is coming up for you, and then we'll move into our next thing together. Thank you all for spending a little time with this prompt. If you're still working and sharing, please continue to do so. I saw so many of us really diving into this and, using it as a good reminder of like, yeah, I really do need to try to get outside, even if it means I bundle up, or maybe I try to let some fresh air in, or, do my next journal session by the window. I also saw one or two people mention like getting out in the night sky, and that always is like a huge reset for me as well. Just looking up and just kind of being reminded of like how small this little moment in time is, right? It can be very cathartic. So, thank you all for sharing. Please continue to share. We are going to move into our rosebud thorn exercise. So, this does appear in the journal each week. And if you would like to do it this week, it should be on page. My journal will cooperate with me. 44. But you can really do a rosebud thorn exercise anytime. I think it's a great way to kind of stop and reflect with some balance and get kind of a reminder of what you have going on. So Katie's rosebud and thorn here, I have some notes to share because she always shares these really cool pictures for hers. So her rose is that, excuse me, her she has a new office. Her office moved to a new location, and it's actually close to where she lives now. So it's actually a little bit easier, a little bit less time for her to go into the office. And she kind of knew that the office was going to be moving, but she wasn't sure if it was going to end up being closer or if it was maybe going to end up being further away. So thankfully, it's now much closer. So that is going to make things easier for her when she does go into the office, and she may start going into the office a little bit more now, just because it will be more convenient. And then her bud is that she has a couple fun things coming up, like a film festival. It's kind of like short form documentary based. She said she did something similar a while back and it was really cool. So she's excited about that. And then she also has another like author book event that she's going to get to go to. So that's very exciting. And then her thorn is that she has like a local grocery store that like she can literally see from like her flat. It's so fun to say from her flat. I don't even know if that's the right word for Scotland, but it's fun to say anyways. And that's like obviously like really convenient to pop over and grab things, but it's been closed for the last couple of weeks, and she's kind of realized like just how much of a convenient thing that is. Like before it was kind of like, oh, it's so nice I have this here, and now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that this grocery store is here. When are they reopening? This is such a pain. So she is looking forward to them hopefully coming back. um I'm not sure if it's like a for sure temporary closure or what's going on there. She can clarify in the chat. But I guess the flip side of that is she will be very grateful when they return. So that is good. My rosebud and thorn. Thorn is just like the weather here in Tennessee. It seems like sickness has been all over the place. Like thankfully, I have managed to dodge most of it. But my team at work, it's just been one thing after another. Like we have been plagued with the flu, the COVID, the mystery virus that nobody knows what it is, but it knocks you out for like a week and a half, and it seems like the flu, but it's not. Strep throat, like neurovirus, you name it. It has all run through our office in the last couple weeks, and I just feel like a sitting duck, right now because somehow it's missed me, and I'm just like, oh gosh, any second now it's gonna come for me. So that is my thorn. My bud is that next week, so not this coming week, but the next week, I am taking a trip with a coworker. We are going to go down to Disney World. It is her first time going, and we're going for her 40th birthday. So I'm very excited about that. It's always fun to take people that haven't been before. Had to get up very early this morning and secure some Disney things. But I guess my rose is that all went very well. I was able to get everything I needed. And so it looks like our trip is set up for success. So I will put on a song for you to think about your rosebud and thorn. Please share with us in the chat. I love doing this exercise together with all of you. It kind of lets us get a glimpse into each other's lives. Thank you all for taking a moment to share. Again, if you're still sharing, please do so. We're going to go ahead and hop into our weekly planner, which today is on, keep having to flip back here. So today we're on pages 46 and 47. So that is where we'll be doing our weekly setup. And as we go through, we're going to go to each different section, and Katie's got some awesome examples and things for us. But we do have all of these different things that people often like will plug into the journal in various places. Because this is your journal and we want you to make it work for you, whatever that means. So if you need to completely change a category, if you need to like rearrange things, like I know sometimes people will put their to-do list in the meal plan section and then put their meal stuff in the to-do list section. Like there are no rules except that you make this work for you. That is the only rule, really, is that you give yourself the permission to do whatever it is that you need to really make this beneficial to you and whatever you have going on in your life in this season. And that can change from time to time. So sometimes we have to like try out a new thing and maybe it doesn't work and it's okay. Like next week is a new week, right? And if it didn't work for you, you don't have to try it again. But sometimes you try something new and it's like the thing that you've been looking for, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this is the thing I have been needing to do. This is so helpful. So these are just a bunch of different ideas and things of ways that you can kind of plug new things into these different areas for repurposing. But we're going to go ahead and start with the first section at the top right of the page, which is this week, I want to feel. I really love the Cheshire Cat here, super cute. And Katie's reminder that it's okay if things don't go perfectly today, which is so valid for the how I want to feel section, right? It's okay to feel kind of icky or meh or whatever, but we're going to try to call in something a little bit different as we go into our week. So for me, I always put this week, I want to like invite serenity in by or bring serenity in by, because serenity is my word of the year. And so this week, I want to invite serenity in by continuing to pack well ahead of my trip instead of waiting till the last second. I've already got all of my clothes packed as of yesterday. I'm very amazed at myself. Can't believe it. But if I continue to do that, I will be less stressed and more calm. There's some awesome examples here up on the screen for us from all of you in Sonder Club, and you can kind of see that there's no like right or wrong way to do this. Again, it's all about what works for you. Feel free to use stickers, and that's really cute with like the crossword there in the bottom left. That's super fun. So whatever works for you, we'll put on a little bit of music for you to think about it and then move into our next section, and I'll kind of pop back and forth between these slides for you. Oh, thank you. I was muted. That was the problem. I was muted. I don't know what happened. Everything closed and then Zoom just reopened. So I don't know if it was having a moment and needed to restart, but no worries. I will get everything pulled back up here. Just give me 1 second. Guess my internet decided that it couldn't let Katie's internet have all the fun. It also needed to like do something. So, okay, let's see. Annalisa, can you see the slides now? No, Dawn, thankfully no tornadoes anymore. We got all of that out of the way last night, at least for now. So, okay, perfect. Slides are back up. Awesome. Okay, let me make sure you guys can hear the music. Hear it? You know. Yeah. All right, awesome. Okay. Well, thank you all for your patience. Hopefully, I think a Zoom wants to feel crazy next week, right? With the like chaos that it's inviting into. But that's okay. We're gonna keep moving forward and doing our setup here. And I saw somebody asked about the recording. I don't know if it'll mess up or not. It says it's still recording. It was really strange what it did, so no worries. So we're going to move into our major 3 goals and then also our to-dos. I love this cute little graphic. Katie always finds the cutest little things here. You're enough. Your kindness and resilience are noticed and deeply appreciated. Your efforts, no matter how small they seem, truly matter and make a difference. Love that. So we've got some good examples here, but then Katie has also provided some great ideas for repurposing, because maybe you've got, a week that you don't want to focus on like goals. Maybe you want to focus on quotes or movies or something new that you're getting excited about. Again, the only rule here is that you are making this work for you. I use the personalized coaching platform, so I always put 3 affirmations here. Here are some other examples, and you can see where folks have kind of divided this into kind of 3 sections or 3 categories. I like the early, midday, evening. I haven't seen that one before. That's cool. And then I like the alliteration of the frog, fun, and fierce. Also, a lot of folks will like to kind of combine this section with the weekly to-dos. So like you can see in the bottom left, this person has the 3 sections of planning, doing, and peacefulness. Love that. And then they've got the kind of little bingo boxes that go with each one of those. I really like that format and style. One of these days, I'm going to do it. And then here are some more great examples. And don't worry, I'll hop through all of these as you kind of, excuse me, work on your own pages. But like I mentioned, oh, Katie's got some more examples here for us. Oh yeah, I love that. I feel more lovely. To feel more lovely, I will. So you could tie this up into your how I want to feel section that you just thought about as well. But like I mentioned, a lot of folks like to kind of combine these 2 sections together. So we'll also kind of run through these. I love that cute little whale. He's so cute. Don't discount your victories, big or small. So of course you can do a to-do list in this section. You could do a to-do list instead, which is instead of writing out everything you need to do, you can write out things as you get them done. And then that way at the end of the week, you get to be like, ta-da, look at everything I did. But as Katie likes to say, it doesn't matter if it's to do or to do as long as it gets to done. So use whatever works for you. The Eisenhower matrix is in the top right there. That can be a very useful graphic if you are trying to kind of like narrow down what feels like, you know, um, a to-do list that's kind of never ending. It can kind of help you reduce that. The dread list are like the things that you are like dreading doing, like it's all the things that you really don't want to do. And Katie may be able to provide a little bit more color than that, but like sometimes I feel like we have like things that we don't want to do, and sometimes it's really not that many things. It's just like one thing sometimes, or 1 or 2 things. And like I think just getting them out on paper where you can see like actually it's just one thing, right? Or being able to take the one thing and break it down into steps, and maybe using the Pomodoro technique, right? Where you set a timer to work on that thing for 15 or 20 minutes. And then usually once you get going, you can keep going kind of thing. I think it kind of like takes out the power from that like feeling if you can just write it down, look at it and see that it's just one or two things, right? You can do a self-care list, and of course, things you don't want to forget for the week. Here are some more awesome examples. I like the don't do this instead, and the needs and wants. Of course, we love a bingo here at Silk and Sonder, so feel free to bingoify your to-do list. And I always say if it makes you smile, it's still doing something. So also don't be afraid to put stickers here or quotes, anything that makes you smile. Truly, if it is lightening your mood in any way, it is still serving a purpose. So don't forget to do those things. You can list out a to-be list, write down your weekly wins. You can also do categories in this section. Oop, one too far. Okay, so lots of really good examples, lots of things here. But don't worry, we're going to put on a decently long song for you here and give you some time to work through both of these sections in your journal. Thank you all. With those sections filled in, we're going to hop down to the bottom to our habits and activities section, or habities, as some of you like to call them. This is a super cute little Lunar New Year graphic that Katie has found, and it celebrate one another as often as you can, which is actually a great kind of call out for this section because you can use it to track habits and activities or habities, or you could use it to track like small wins, or maybe it becomes like a check-in section where maybe you have like a friend you want to check in with once each week, right? Or a list of people you need to check in with. Life gets so busy, and it is like truly incredible how easy it is to lose sight of losing touch with folks, even in this day and age where we have cell phones and social media and all the things. Like sometimes I don't think about reaching out to somebody until it's like 11:30 at night, and then it feels like it's too late, right? So sometimes having that reminder in this section could be a great place to reach out and reconnect. You can also see some other great examples here of things that can be good to track. And again, you can really track anything that you need to here, whether it is a habit or it's something maybe a little bit more fun, like this: spend time outside, read positive quotes, listen to upbeat music, etc. You can decide to like set a goal of what you want to track in these sections, or you can just kind of track them as they come. This is a cool example too of how to track like multiple things in one spot if you need to. You can also just track a few things. You do not have to fill in every line that is there. And then these are some other cool, fun, cute ideas that Katie has here for things that you might consider like tracking. And then in the interest of time, I'm also going to take a look at our meal plan section, which is over on the next page here. So the meal plan section gets repurposed a lot, not because having a meal plan is a bad thing, but just because it takes up a lot of real estate in the journal. So as we've gone through here and continue to go through, if there's any example of anything that you've seen that you're like, oh, that's really cool, but I don't know if this is the right place for that, but I'd like to try it somewhere. Maybe the meal plan is the spot. Maybe if you don't need a meal plan because you use something else for meal planning, that could be the place that you could track it. You can see all of these different things over on the left-hand side where people have decided to track different things. Over on the right-hand side, I love this one good thing with the little doodles. That is super cute. I love doodles. I absolutely love them. I think that they are so intimate and cute and personal to each person that makes them, and they're just the best. We've got people who do their schedules and things here. I put all of my work meetings in this section, and it helps me out a lot. Oh my gosh, that now those are some beautiful daily doodles. My doodles do not look like that, but those are amazing. So this could be a fun kind of tiny creative space to do something like that. I also like the something I did well today. Felt good about kind of like prompts. You can track health things here, do affirmations, or use this as like your schedule section. Like I said, sometimes people will put their to-dos and things here instead of the to-do list. So I'm going to hop back and forth between these different sections and the different examples, again, putting on a good amount of time for you to take a look at it all, and then we'll move into the next section. All right. With those sections hopefully finding their purpose, we are now, oh, there was one more example that I didn't know about. I'm so sorry. I will leave that here for a second while I talk about our other section. So the next section that we're going to move into is the Mind Body Health Plan and the shopping list section. So those two sections are kind of getting used for the same purposes for a lot of folks. Like for me, the Mind Body Health Plan is typically like a little self-care bingo, but I know some people will do like a little self-care bingo in the shopping list section. So kind of seeing those different two things either combined together or used in like similar manners. So we'll kind of go through these examples here. So here are some examples in the Mind Body Health Plan. Oh my gosh, this with the little kitty eggs and bacon is so cute. You could do a feel and need T-chart here, do a little self-care kind of bingo or thing. I like the actual plan here. If you do carve out an actual plan, just make sure that you are carving out time for rest because it truly is one of the most important actions you can take. This unplug for 1 hour could be a really cool thing to try this week. Maybe you want to lean into that admiration of nature, right? And maybe unplug and see if you can get outside or open those windows and let in that fresh air like we were talking about. This is cute with the little February bucket list. Maybe there's some little nuggets of inspiration here that might lend itself well to this little space in your journal. Again, carving out actual not just plan for self-care, but also like plan for rest because there are actually 7 types of rest if you didn't know. So that's what this person here in the top center has done is they've carved out something for each of the 7 types of rest. So if you in this season feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I don't know why, I feel like I'm getting plenty of sleep, maybe it's another area of rest that you kind of need to check in with. Like when was the last time that you did something creative just for fun instead of like problem solving or something that was a work project? Like when was the last time you did something fun just for you to kind of like get creative and things like that? And then for the shopping list, this Katie seriously finds the cutest little graphics. I love this little gas tank, and I talk about that all the time. Like you've got to remember to fill up your cup first, right, before you fill up anybody else's. You can use this as a shopping list as intended. That is what I do with my section. If I don't use it as a shopping list, I will either impulse buy things or I will forget to buy them. Like one or the other happens. So I actually do have to have a shopping list. But a lot of you have other apps or things that you use to remember your shopping list, or you're not like me and you don't have that problem. So this section gets repurposed for you. Lots of different bingos in this section. I love the celebrate the wins. That's super cute. And the just for fun bingo, boring stuff bingo, all the different bingos. This could be a great place to like put that in and get it woven in here. And then you've got all of these cool ideas and things here. In the center, I know that packing list and wardrobe and stuff is really popular. You can do a to be list here. That social check-in we kind of talked about earlier, you could move that over here. Like I said before, if there was another idea that came up before in one of the other sections that didn't seem right for you in that section, it might fit well over into one of these sections that maybe you don't use as much of. And again, always fine to put a quote, a sticker, if it's making you smile, if it's lifting your mood, it is doing something. And you've got this cool little glimmer bingo that you could use for inspiration as well. You all are so creative with your different examples and things. I love it so much. So I'll put on another quick song for you, and then we will kind of close out our time together. All righty. So, if you can believe it, that's actually going to close out our time together. As we wrap up here, if you would like to share one thing that you are loving, please pop it in the chat as we close out our time together. We would love to see it. I'm loving all of this time with all of you, and I'm loving how, per usual, supportive and awesome and patient you all have been with us today as we had not one, but two tech crazy things happen. You all are just the best, and I love my time together with all of you so much. So thank you for being here with us today. I know that Katie and I both just absolutely enjoyed this time with all of you. We would love to see the results of your time here today that you spent in your planter, in your planter. We're gardening now. In your planner, if you feel comfortable sharing. And then if you haven't heard, Meha is doing another like webinar for the personalized coaching platform. It's like a quick 30-minute power session. So if you have questions about it, if you're interested in learning more, I use it every week in my setup to kind of help streamline everything for me. And I love having access to the personalized coach 24/7. I feel like I'm learning more and more how to use it and how it can help me in my life every day. So if you're curious, definitely be sure to attend. And then this is Katie's playlist here today. There was like one or two other songs in there that I had to pull from my playlist because I didn't manage my time as well as she would have. But that's okay. That's in her playlist there for all of you if you need it. Thank you all again so much for being here with us today and for being so patient with us as we fought the Zoom gremlins off this morning. I hope that this sets the rest of your day off beautifully and that you have a wonderful afternoon. And until next time, we'll see you all in Sonder Club. Bye.
What it's like. I'm in love. I see your face and I'm in love. Our heartbeats beating time. I'm in love. I'm in love for the last time. Got back home in the early morning, like a ghost in my own kitchen. I got something broken in the center of my chest, and only you can fix it. Ooh, it's a godsend. Dreaming of you like a fountain, fountain of youth. Stop pretending you don't have a clue. I'm a window pane you can see right through, and I tried like 1,000 times. Maybe you'll hear me tonight. I'm in love. Is this what it's like? I'm in love. I see your face and I'm in love. Our heartbeats beating time. I'm in love. I'm in love for the last time. I feel paralyzed. I'm in love. I see your face and I'm in love. Been waiting my whole life. I'm in love. I'm in love for the last time, and I tried like 1,000 times, but it's never felt so right. It's a godsend. Talking to you, all the flowers, flower and bloom, yeah, but all this means nothing.